I'm a huge fan, and I've read High Profit Selling and High Profit Prospecting. It had a huge impact on me throughout my sales career, and it was one of the 150 books that I read that caused me to write this book, Sales Secrets from the Top 1%, how the world's best sales leaders, share their secrets to sales success. Dude, I love the, how you talk about legacy leadership, because when I came across that and acting as a servant, and I would just think about every deal.
Yeah.
I had to have a product that I believed all in on. And then when I was selling to different people, I would just think the impact that would have for the customer and how they'd be able to buy their food, pay for their mortgage, pay for their car, pay for their kids to go to college. Same with my team. It was less about me making it had, my mind completely shifted from worrying about making a commission to worrying about this positive impact I'm going to make on the customer and the team that I support. And then that's when I hit the $1 million earner. It was crazy. That was the first year that I hit it.
Yeah, because now what you've got is the multiplier effect. You've got the multiplier effect. You are having a multiplying impact on everybody you come in contact with. And what is it doing? It's actually having a multiplying impact in terms of your own personal resources. The more valuable you become to other people, the more valuable you become yourself. And it's not a difficult concept once you let go and allow yourself to play the long game and be focused on the big picture. But see, what happens is we get so caught up in the drama of the moment. We get caught up in this short, quick piece. I got to close this deal right now. I got to do this right now. I got to do this right now. And it's no, back off. Play the long, and it's amazing how much more opportunities. Everybody. And when I hear salespeople say, "Oh, I don't have opportunities. I don't get good leads," and I go, "I'm sorry, that's false. They're there. You are just not seeing them." And it's amazing how our mindset changes how we see things. And it's why, we've all seen this. You've seen this, and everybody else has seen this. Where two salespeople can literally have the same opportunity. One person gets the deal, and one person says there is no deal to be had. It's all the mindset. It's purely mindset.
So you think that the winner of that deal is because of how they perceive the deal? What are they thinking? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Walk me through that.
How they perceive the outcome that they can help the other person achieve. See, this is, I can't stand, features and benefits. That is so, I hate that. What I want to focus on, the outcome. What's the outcome that somebody is going to be able to achieve by working with me?
Yeah. One of my definitions of me is I believe you should do epic shit. Okay.
I love that, dude. And, I may put that on a banner on one of my TVs here. Do epic shit.
Do epic shit. That's how I live my life. And I feel like nobody was born to be average, and too many people say, "Hey, I'm better than average." No. Better than average, we got X number of cycles, Brandon. You have this many cycles. And I love how Gary Vaynerchuk says, what motivates him is you're going to die. I relate to that because you have this many cycles.
Yeah.
And so in your professional career,
that's what I always say. That's what I always say. That's the thing that keeps me up at night. I'm worried I'm going to die not hitting my potential, and it freaks me out.
Yes. So an early mentor in my career. So I win EDS. I say, I want to do epic shit. And I don't feel like going to EDS is epic enough. And I'm just like, is it epic? Is it epic? And I'm like, it's not. Work for somebody small that will give you a chance to do stuff that nobody else in their first year out of college is going to get to do. That's what I wanted to do. And I wasn't of the mindset, start your own business yet. And I'm mad at myself because I didn't bet on myself early enough. If I could go back in my hot tub time machine and be where you are, I would freaking bet on myself sooner, not later.
I was selling Arthritek, which is an arthritis drug, a pain reliever, Celebrex, and Ambien.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a totally different type of sell. Brian Tracy said that if you sell tangibles, you can't sell intangibles, or that's the way I interpreted it. But I was on a mission to say, well, why not? So even though I was selling an intangible, the college education with the warm and fuzzy and wrap my hands around the students until they graduate, I was now into a product-based business where I went in, had 30 seconds with the doctor to try to influence him to be able to, or to get him to write my drug.
Wow.
And I slowly learned that that's not the type of selling that I wanted to do.
Got it. Now I know you were there for a few years though. So like, how do you sell? Like, how would you sell these doctors in 30 seconds or less? Like, what are the secrets there?
The secret, the one thing I learned was you always package your materials in a brightly colored envelope with something inside, something that's bulky, because it arouses curiosity. So they would have to open it, and they would open it up and find my literature. However, I'd also put a personalized note that inspired them to want to see me the next time I came to the office.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like totally out of the box. Like, okay, was it like a big bulky package or
no,
like...
it was just an 8.5 or a 9x12 envelope. It was normally brightly colored, either blue or green, because those were our company colors for Celebrex. And I put candy in it, odd shaped candy, so that they would say, well, what is this? And every time I gave them one, it was something different. So they would say, well, what kind of goodies am I going to get? It's almost like a Cracker Jack box.
Yeah. I don't
box.
even know. Is Cracker Jacks? I don't even know if that they still
Am I dating myself?
Dude, that's hilarious. I used to love those boxes.
Yeah, exactly. The same amount of curiosity is relevant in adults and apparent in adults as it is in kids.
I told my wife, I said, look, I'm going to put together a campaign of 100 no's. I'm going to come up with 100 people that I'm going to approach. And if I get to 100 no's and this thing isn't cash flow positive, I will tuck my tail, I will swallow my pride, and I will go back to working for the man. And I'll go clean it up someplace else. And I don't know, I was maybe 30 calls, 40 calls in, and I was talking to a friend who at that point in time was at Red Hat. And
Nice.
He said, man, I cannot believe, he's like, I can't believe you're on the sideline. We had a sales kickoff coming up. What if you would come in and do a couple hours? And I was like, I'd love to do it. I had no idea what I was going to do, but I said I'd love to do it because, you're just looking for opportunities to do some cash. And so that was my first client was Red Hat. And they were
a little tech company, right? I mean, Red Hat's massive, man. Congrats.
Well, and they were very kind to me. So we did so here's the story behind the story, Brandon. I mean, my proposal to them was like, okay, this is going to be, $6,213.57. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing. And I went and did the program. It took me, I had 2 months, and I think I worked 60 hours a week trying to figure out what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Interviewing their people, interviewing their leadership. I put together this program, went to Raleigh-Durham. And I remember 2 hours in, we took our first break. And I just remember going to the restroom and saying to myself, OMG, if people will pay me to do this, I am so in. And
That's awesome.
The program went really well. After the program, VP of Sales took me aside with, I think they called it their Chief People Officer, which was like their HR person in charge of training. And the three of us sat in a conference room, and the VP said to me, he said, man, that was really good, and we need to do that 6 more times across the U.S. And he said, I'll let you and the Chief People Officer figure out the details. And so I thought, man, 1 turns into 7. And so the Chief People Officer said, Tim, that was really outstanding. You just did a great job. You delivered exactly what we needed and then some. He says, I've only got one problem before we move forward. And I said, what's that? And he says, your price. I thought, man, here we go. I go, well, tell me more. He said, you're not charging enough. And I was like, yeah, it was like an angel from heaven, to your point. And so that was the beginning. Red Hat was really kind of the springboard that got me going where I needed to be.
Right when you said, he's like, I want to acquire SEO, I want to acquire PPC, I want to do return. I'm like, dude, and you and I, before this call, we were just talking about focus and the importance there. Like, it sounds like they were just all over the place.
Well, not so much over. He had a big vision, which I do now as well, as we were talking about earlier. And it's like, what I learned from it though is that make sure that you nail it before you scale it. And that's actually one of our little slogans. If you look at,
I love that quote. Yeah. Nail it before you scale it.
Nail it before you scale it. And look, if you have great salespeople, you can go tell a story and sell all day long. But if you can't execute on it, you're going to churn and you're going to put revenue at risk. And I think a lot of companies get super excited about being able to drive new business, but it's so much more important to keep the business you have because it's much more difficult to acquire a new customer than to keep that customer happy.
Yep.
And so for me, that's where I started to learn the power of customer success and how important it is to ensure that there's alignment from sales to success. What we're saying in sales is actually what we can deliver. And that was one of my biggest frustrations when I left Sell Points, was that it just took a long time for the product to get to what we were selling, but we continued to sell it. And so I ended up leaving to a company. I got recruited actually to a company called Bushaka,
Yep.
which is doing something very, very similar to what we were doing at Sell Points, but it was more on the social front. And social is starting to blow up, right? This is
Yeah, it's funny because I did some work for Shoutlet, one of my entrepreneur advisors. Shoutlet and Sprinkler competed, and Bushaka was acquired by Sprinkler, I believe.
Yep, that's right.